Up until now, we've gone into different methods of making shirts, how you get the graphic onto the shirt. We've gone into conceptual thinking and thinking about different styles and graphics of shirts and how you can do that. Now we're going to go into how shirts actually get made, and really more of the production process and down into the real nitty-gritty of how these things get done. I'm going to exhibit it using these 3 pigeon shirts that I've selected, where 2 of these won't make it and only 1 of them will make it. So in my head, I sort of have different themes that I go on. And one of the themes that I had was like a nature outdoor hiking theme. The other theme I had was a pop art theme. And then the other theme that I had going was a floral design theme. This nature one, this nature hiking one, has, again, this sort of like tribalist pattern going on in it. And then as you can see on the bottom, we did this sort of, it's called a peaking actually, where it's actually mountain peaks, but it looks like it's a running stitch. It's actually all silkscreen. So again, for this one, we're talking about a 4-color print here, and then we're talking about a separate 1-color screen. So this needs its own screen on separate from this because of how far away the placement is. Then we had to go and do the pop art option. Again, these are first samples, so they're not really up to quality that we want, but it's just to give the buyers and the marketing and the salespeople an idea. So this one has a very pop art inspired fill on the pigeon, and then we did the bright yellow polka dots all over. And then we did the floral one, which, as you can see on the floral one, it is scalloped on the bottom, like we mentioned before, and it's got a floral print on it. And just to give you sort of an idea, the inspiration behind that came from, like me sort of trolling the internet for floral prints and finding a lot of pop color stuff. So something like this would have been the inspiration for that. And then we would then go in and convert it, clean it up, and do our own remix on it, if you will. So these are 3 different ideas that we came up with. The winner ended up being this one. This one ended up being the top winner. So these 2 were shelved for the time being. Shelved doesn't mean it's done forever. It just means it wasn't the right time and the right place for it. So we keep these in archive, and there might be a time and place where these might come back and do actually really well. I think one of the most sort of strong traits that creative and design people have to really accept and learn is the idea of rejection. And rejection doesn't mean you suck. Rejection just means that your idea wasn't right for that time and place. This ended up being the winner for the season. And so now when we go into full production on this, we have to make a blueprint essentially for how the factory is gonna make this. And what we call that is a tech pack. And so we have to make a tech pack, and I'm gonna walk you through how a tech pack looks. It goes from inspiration to our rendition of it, and then application into the pigeon. The more precise you have your tech pack, the less mistakes the factory will hopefully make. If you have a half-assed tech pack, you might have to go through 3, 4, 5 rounds of samples before you get the one that you really like. Hopefully, if you have a really lock and stock tech pack, they'll nail it on the first or second try, which is the ideal that we're going for, because each round of samples that you do, you have to pay for them. As you can see, page 1, how to make the t-shirt. Like, there's no graphic on this at all. This is just how to make the body. There's a lot of details going on here. There's the scallops, the hem on the bottom is the scallop look here, where it's curved on the bottom, and it's actually got a piece of taping on the bottom as well. It's got taping up here on the neck also. And the sleeves, as you can see, are different. The sleeves, you look at this area between the armpit and then the bottom edge of the sleeve, it's very short. We didn't want like a long tubular sleeve on this. We wanted it to be more of a quote unquote fashion cut. So that's what this first page tells you. This first page tells you factory. This is what our shirt's gonna look like. It's every measurement, every statistic going on like where the side vents are, where the placement of all the different trims are. Everything is said on this first page. This is very important. And then, as I mentioned, we go into the graphic. The main graphic is said here. So you've got the dimensions, you've got the Pantone colors, name of the file that is attached to this. So now we're already at 3 pages for this one t-shirt. So those are those elements. So now you've got the body done, and then you've got the graphic done. Fabric is also very important, obviously. So we also want to indicate to them what kind of fabric we want to use. So we take pictures of the fabric we want to use. Sometimes we'll actually cut this out and send it to them if necessary, because this fabric, this cotton is actually called a slub cotton. So it kind of has this like heathered look, whereas these are like solid. So we wanted this kind of like slub cotton heathered look instead. And it has this, it just adds to the more fashion feel of it. So now we've got 90% of the shirt done. We've got the fabric, we've got the cut, the construction, we have the graphic, and we have the major trims. There's a couple of finishing pieces that the factory still has to do, namely your label. The label on the shirt can be sometimes a woven label that's actually sewn in. It could be a printed label. We choose to use a printed label. Essentially, there is no label, as you can see. There's no label there. It's just a print directly onto the shirt. And we do this because I personally hate like itchy neck labels, and I always cut them out. And staple shirts used to use neck labels, and I'd be cutting my own staple neck labels out. And I'm like, why am I cutting my own neck label out? Like, why don't I just change it so that it doesn't bother the wearer anymore? So we converted all to this for our t-shirts. So we have to tell the factory what medium looks like, what small looks like, and what 2X looks like. We don't want 2XL, we want the numeral 2XL. These are all things that you have to specify. And in fact, all of these individual things require their own screen. So we have to shoot a screen for each and every one of these things. The other thing is the care label. So the care label, as you start getting bigger and bigger, you have to tell the world where your stuff is made, what is made up of the content of it, and how to wash the thing, care labels. So these are legal things that you have to do when you get to a certain level. If you're still making 12, 30, 50 shirts for you and your friends and selling them at a local boutique, you probably don't have to worry about this yet. It's when you start shipping them across state lines and across country lines that you got to start thinking about how people care for the shirts, where they're made, and things like that. So we actually designed the care label as well. So we have to tell the factory we want it 3 inches from the bottom hem, which is right up in here. You can't tell the factory, yo, just put it up here, because like, where the wear, it won't bother you. Like, they'll be like, I don't wear t-shirts. I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what kind of pants you wear, They need to know like, okay, 3 inches from the bottom hem, got it, I understand now. So you gotta speak in their language. And then finally, for the last step, is our hang tag. So we actually design out all the hang tags, how it gets looped in, what kind of rope they use. Every single detail is managed in that. And then so they know where to put the hang tag and how to make that as well. So once you have all of those things, I mean, now you're looking at like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We have a 9-page document called a tech pack. This whole thing is a tech pack. This 9-page document is how to make one t-shirt. Okay, that's one shirt. Now your second t-shirt requires its own 9-page document. And that's how t-shirts are made on this scale and this level. So just to give you a little bit of insight on how that's done, I don't expect all of you to go out and make a shirt with a 9-page tech pack. Again, you could make a shirt with 1 Sharpie and a blank Hanes t-shirt. You don't need a tech pack to make a t-shirt. But I do want to give you the direction of if you eventually want your own brand, and if you eventually want that brand to be widely distributed all over the world and not made by your own 2 hands, but made by a factory, this is what's in your future, whether you like it or not. So get ready for that.